Hello everyone, hope you've all had a really lovely weekend, been able to enjoy the good weather. Today in our worship time, we're going to be thinking about our new value for this half term. It's part of being the best that you can be through personal development. And this half term, our special value for this half term is independence. Now I wonder if you know what that word, independence, means. Independence is all about standing on our own 2 feet. It's all about doing things without having to rely on other people to do them for us. As we grow up, it's important that we become more and more independent. When you're a tiny baby and you've just been born, you're not really independent at all, are you? Think about it. You need someone to feed you. You need someone to put clothes on you. You even need someone to move you from one place to another. There's very little that you can do for yourself. Some of you with little baby brothers or sisters will know exactly what I'm talking about there. They need everything doing for them, don't they? And then, when you can, you begin to do some things for yourself. Maybe a little baby brother or sister is able to hold the bottle as they drink their milk. Or as they're growing up, they hold a plastic spoon as they try to get some of that food into their mouths instead of all over the floor and all over their face. But with practice, you learn to do these things better and better. You become more and more independent and you don't have to rely on other people. Then you learn to crawl and you can move yourself around to all sorts of different parts of the room or the house. Things can get really exciting then. And you can get up to all sorts of mischief. Then, of course, you learn to walk and to talk and to ask for things that you need. All the time, you're growing in independence as you get able to do more and more things for yourself. It's really important, isn't it? By the time you come to school, there are all sorts of things that you're able to do for yourselves. Getting dressed, using the toilet and so on. And as we keep on growing and learning, there are more and more and more things that we can do for ourselves. Lots of you now are independent enough to write your own brilliant stories. I've seen some of those, all from your own imagination, using the skills that you've learned. Or to solve maths puzzles, or to sort out arguments or fallings out without needing someone to come along and do it for you. That's all part of becoming more and more independent. Of course, sometimes we need to ask for help with things, and that is absolutely fine. I don't want you to think that's not a good idea, because it's one of the best ways of learning. And when we learn, we become more independent, don't we? Because we learn how to do things for ourselves. But asking questions, relying on others at times, is actually a really good thing to do as well. It helps us to learn and to become more independent. And of course, it's also fine to work with others. One of our other values is teamwork, isn't it? Really important that we can combine our skills or ideas, and then we can achieve even greater things. But being able to do things for ourselves, not always relying on others, is a really important thing to learn. I'm going to tell you a story now. It's from the Bible, and it's about a 12-year-old boy who was becoming very independent, as you'll see. This boy was Jesus, so it's one of the few stories about him when he was a boy. You'll see how he was growing up, even though he actually did something that really gave his mum and dad a bit of a scare. So here we go. This is the story of the boy in the temple. "Excuse me," said Mary, "but have you seen my boy, Jesus?" "I'm sorry to trouble you," said Joseph, "but I can't seem to find my son. He's 12 and about so tall." Again and again they asked, but Mary and Joseph found nothing but shrugs and sympathetic looks and, "Sorry, I can't help you." They were worried. They were scared. They didn't know what else to do. And what made it worse was that this should have been such a wonderful trip, off to Jerusalem to visit the temple. and celebrate the Passover holiday. But now they were on their way home, and Jesus was missing. It was getting dark. "We've asked everyone we came with," Mary wept, "and no one has seen him." Joseph snapped his fingers. "What about those boys? The ones from the next village? Jesus walked with them a while on the way down here." "I've already spoken to them," sighed Mary, wiping her eyes. "There's nothing." "Then there's only one thing left to do," said Joseph. "We must go back to Jerusalem and look for him there." And so they went, retracing their steps, road by road, street by street, alley by alley, until they arrived, exhausted, at the temple. "Have you seen a boy?" asked Joseph, speaking to one of the temple priests. "He's 12, "Have we seen a boy?" the priest grinned. "Oh, we certainly have. His name is Jesus, right?" "Yes," cried Joseph. "But how did you know?" "Come with me," the priest chuckled. "I'll show you." The priest led them to a corner of the temple. There was a crowd gathered, listening to one of the temple teachers, and seated right at the teacher's feet was Jesus. "The boy is remarkable," the priest whispered to Joseph. "He's been going from teacher to teacher, asking the most amazing questions. And when the teachers quiz him, he answers with a wisdom well beyond his years. You should be very proud." "Well, I'm certainly amazed," Joseph sighed. "But I would be much prouder if he hadn't worried his mother and me half to death. We should be halfway back to Nazareth by now." When the teacher had finished, Joseph and Mary rushed straight to Jesus. They hugged him. They led him out of the temple. But it didn't take long before they told him how they felt. "What did you think you were doing?" Mary asked. "We were worried sick." "I'm sorry," Jesus said. "I thought you'd know where I was." Then he looked back at the temple and whispered, "It is my Father's house, after all." Mary and Joseph looked at each other. Jesus took their hands, and together they started off home. Jesus gave his parents a bit of a scare there, didn't he? And I would say that you should always let your mum and dad know where you're going. But wasn't he independent for a 12-year-old? There he was in the temple, teaching some of the priests things about God, his Father. There was this young man growing up and becoming independent, having his own thoughts and being brave enough to share them with people older than he was and people who had much more experience. He was being independent. Now, I've asked a couple of children from Year 2 to share the prayers that they've written about independence for our special school book of prayers. I invite you now to get ready to pray as they share their prayers. So shall we pray?
Dear God, thank you for helping me grow and become independent. Please help all of the people in the world to feel safe and happy when they're on their own. Help others learn to be independent, but still helped if they need it. God, your strength gives me understanding to learn and be the best I can be. Thank you for your guidance. Amen.
Go for it.
Dear God, thank you for helping us to be independent when things are hard. Everybody finds things hard, but when you come to us, you give us strength to have independence to get through these hard times. Thank you for helping us being the best that we can be, and thank you for helping us to be independent at home, school, and everywhere else. Amen.
So, this half term then, let's see who can really show a bit of independence. Let's see if you can be brave enough to try things for yourself, to be the best that you can be even when something seems a bit daunting or difficult and you're not sure that you're going to succeed. Your teachers will be looking out for people who are working independently, who are having a go to try and do things for themselves. And at the end of this half term, someone in each class will be our Values Independence champion. Have a great day. See you soon. God bless.